finally
And this is 13.
dies out here with me.
Lucky number 13. Oh no, James, no! James, no! Hey guys, my name's Dan. Today's reaction is the Blair Witch Project 1999 kill count. Re-upload, I guess you could say, because for whatever reason, YouTube decided to cut down the video. Let me just show you exactly what I mean by that. Do this in real time. As you can see here, video is 19 minutes long. My actual reaction that I uploaded is this one, and as you can see right there, it is 29 minutes 19 seconds, so definitely not the right length. I don't know, it's something messed up with the uploading process, but I am re-uploading it here right now so you guys can see the full version. I'm so sorry. Again, I don't know what happened. Something screwed up on YouTube's end, I guess. I don't really know how else I can truly explain it, but I do hope that you enjoy the full version of this. But before we get into it, though, please do check all those links I have for you in the description below. More specifically, the Dead Meat one, if you haven't already. It's a great way to support them, and a great and easy way to support me is by going right below this video, clicking all those buttons down there, because I always let you see future reactions that I do, but also helps my channel to grow. Without any further ado, let's go.
Welcome to the Kill Count, where we tally up the victims in all our favorite horror movies. I'm James A. Janice, and today we're looking at the Blair Witch Project, released in 1999. The Blair Witch is about 3 student filmmakers who get lost in the woods while trying to make a documentary. The story is told through their footage, ostensibly found a year later. But this isn't just a found footage movie, it is the found footage movie.
Sure is.
Found footage is one of my favorite subgenres, maybe because I owned a camcorder when I was young. My childhood was spent recording things and watching the crappy footage back. So to me, found footage is a lived experience. It feels so realistic, as long as it's done right, which is admittedly more difficult than it seems. But I maintain that some of the scariest movies are found footage films. The style had existed at least since The Legend of Boggy Creek, and more infamously, Cannibal Holocaust, but the Blair Witch Project wasn't just more popular than those movies. For a while, it was pop culture. Directors Daniel Myrick and Eduardo Sanchez filmed the Blair Witch Project over 8 days in October 1997, mostly in Seneca Creek State Park in Montgomery County, Maryland. The duo, who met at the University of Central Florida School of Film, wanted to make a horror movie more psychological than slashy, and definitely not like the popular comedy-infused teen-oriented films of the time.
There really wasn't anything that was scaring us. I mean, it's like, okay, there were horror movies, quote-unquote, and they were kind of fun to kind of go check out and stuff like that.
It was scaring us that they were being made.
Instead of hiring a traditional crew, they auditioned actors comfortable with improv under duress.
We made it clear to them, you know, I mean, even in the audition process, we put a sheet out there that said, if you don't like camping, if you don't like being out in the woods, if you don't like being scared, don't even try out for this part.
After a few days of training on the 16mm camera and DAT recorder for sound, their cast became the crew. They filmed the movie themselves, with production directing them via GPS markers. Instead of communicating directly, the actors would get supply drops of daily notes and dwindling rations. It was all in an effort to keep them immersed, which is why the filmmakers cast based on character profiles rather than scripting out the characters.
What I'm trying to do is cast personalities rather than actors to portray a particular role, because we knew there was so much improvisation throughout the film.
The result is one of the most convincing found footage movies ever made, and boy, did it convince a lot of people in 1999. Sure, other films had said they were based on true stories, but even the grittiest of them still looked like movies. This was something new.
People are still not sufficiently used to seeing home movie footage in a cinema.
Blair Witch went far beyond just a text screen at the beginning of the film. They set up a Web 1.0 site before the movie even screened. On it, the characters were treated like real people and their disappearance like a real mystery.
I really don't think that the film would have done nearly as much money, you know, as much business as it's done if it weren't for the website.
These so-called characters had the same names as the actors playing them, leading many to believe they were dead in real life. Heather Donahue's mother even received a sympathy card from a distant relative. The Blair Witch Project was a phenomenon. The movie became shorthand for the found footage style, and its imagery was parodied everywhere. All these years later, it still holds up as one of the best of its subgenre, and in my opinion, absolutely terrifying. If a witch kills in the woods and there's no one there to
and no one there to see it, doesn't get counted.
Sorry, I forgot I have an interview scheduled.
What?
Sticks?
Thanks for your time, Mr. Janice.
So
you've not just heard the legend of man-in-the-middle attacks, but have experienced it yourself?
Yeah, I mean, sadly, man-in-the-middle attacks are all too common. It can happen whenever you venture out into the wilds of public Wi-Fi.
That'd be like guest Wi-Fi at stores and restaurants?
Yeah, exactly. See, For example, I was just at a coffee shop, right? Okay. Got my coffee cup and everything. I was just minding my own business, doing some writing on my one-man stage musical, The Counter and the Countess, and then I saw this network, James Fan Wi-Fi. Figured, wow, a public Wi-Fi for my fans, just for me? So I clicked it.
And that didn't seem suspicious to you?
Well, usually man-in-the-middle attacks use hyper-generic names like coffee-free Wi-Fi. I mean, who's gonna use my name? I mean, they were apparently, but
yeah,
how was I
apparently
supposed to know?
so.
Anyway, so I connect to this Wi-Fi, and boom, this man in the middle is taking all the information I entered.
Oh no!
Like your banking info and passwords.
Yeah,
Oh.
which was obviously a huge hassle, but they
Sure.
also got the whole script for The Counter and the Countess. That was gonna be my next big thing.
I'm sorry for your loss.
Thank you. Listen, kids, if you really want to hunt down these man-in-the-middle attackers, you should make sure you have help from today's sponsor, NordVPN.
NordVPN.
Oh,
Yeah.
can't we just look for a lock icon and HTTPS address in the address bar?
I mean, yeah, that's a good first step, but with Nord you can encrypt your data regardless of whether your connection is secure, making it practically automatic to guard against imposter Wi-Fis. And right now, you can get a 2-year plan at a huge discount, plus 4 additional months free when you use the link nordvpn.com/deadmeat. Plus, with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee, it's risk-free. That's nordvpn.com/deadmeat. It's the best deal in the wilds of the internet.
Thanks for your time, Mr. Janice.
No problem. Now I've got to get back to this kill count
Yeah,
that I
go on.
filmed before I got a haircut.
Oh, okay.
If a witch kills in the woods and there's no one there to film it, does it go on the count? Let's
Yep.
find out and get to them.
Yeah, let's see what we got.
The movie begins by saying this took place in 1994. Not that we couldn't figure that out for ourselves. These undergrad film students look like backup members of the Gym Blossoms. They've probably already seen Clerks 3 times. The leader of the film crew is Heather Donahue, who's making the first documentary about the legend of the Blair Witch. She's headstrong and self-serious.
I don't want to go cheesy. I want to really avoid any cheese.
And possibly lactose intolerant. Her classmate and cam op is Joshua Leonard, who runs their rented 16mm film camera with black and white stock. Heather shoots extra footage on video with a camcorder. Rounding out the crew is Josh's friend Michael Williams, whom Heather doesn't know that well, but hey, you need a sound guy. Together they head out for a weekend shoot in the real-life town of Burkittsville, Maryland. The history they give it is fictional though, saying it used to be known as the village of Blair. Damn shame it's got haunted woods. You'll never see a better bargain for getting your nuts wet. Heather's kind of a cringy film student, but I repeat myself. She gives us her best Diane Sawyer in a cemetery.
There are an unusually high number of children laid to rest here.
Oh,
Most of them
yeah,
passed
yeah.
in the 1940s.
But I think this presentation properly sets things up to get spooky. Heather Donahue actually wrote her own narration based on production-provided lore. Donahue took the part seriously, all while keeping properly cautious about the conditions in which it was made.
You didn't have to take any precautions in that arena either?
Oh, I bought myself a giant hunting knife.
Oh, my kind of girl.
They interviewed
Okay,
various
then.
locals about the nearby woods and its legends.
We're doing a documentary about the Blair Witch.
The townsfolk are pretty happy to talk about their creepy heritage, except for one little gangster girl who knows snitches get witches.
Yep.
They hear several stories, including one about Rustin Parr. He was an old hermit in the 1940s who lured 7 kids to his remote house in the woods. There, he ritualistically killed them one by one.
He took the kids down in the basement by twos, and he made one face into the corner,
Really?
and then he would kill the other one.
One lady, Mary Brown, claims to have seen the witch on a childhood fishing trip with her dad. She says she saw a woman covered in black hair or fur. It's unclear, just like this shot. Damn, this looks bad. What the fuck, Josh?
Fucked up on the Mary. I'm checking my depth of field chart to see how bad.
So you measured for meters? What? We're not in Europe.
Oh, word, new camera. I get it. Blair Witch was shot largely on the digital Hi8 camcorder, which allowed them to shoot way more than they'd be able to with a then standard film camera. The 16mm black and white film footage was recorded with a CP16 camera, courtesy of cinematographer Neil Fredericks. Tragically, Fredericks lost his life at age 35 in a plane crash while capturing aerial footage for the movie Crossbow. Rest in peace. As someone who went to film school, I love this authentic film student experience. The kids worry about film stock and getting focus and exude inexperience, missing shots and sometimes stumbling in their narration.
Blood at the edges of the hemp indicate that this act had been committed while each was alive and able-bodied enough to struggle.
They're so young and naive, it's still a big deal to take a swig of alcohol.
I fucking hate scotch.
They're so young they don't appreciate scotch. The trio's amateur
Apparently.
filmmaking helped change the film's low budget from an obstacle into something authentic, which helps when you're trying to scare people.
We just took with what we had to work with, which is a very you know, kind of a minimal budget, minimal resources, and use those as our strengths.
Day 2 in town sees them talk to the Statler and Waldorf of crick fishing.
I mean, anybody worth their salt around here knows that this area's been haunted by that old woman for years.
That's bullshit.
The two cross-heckle the story of Robin Weaver, a girl in the late 1800s who followed a floating old lady into the woods. While she eventually returned, a search party sent out to find her didn't. They were found disemboweled with pagan symbols carved into their foreheads. Directors Daniel Myrick and Eduardo Sanchez originally wanted to make the Blair Witch Project half found footage, half mockumentary, in the style of shows like In Search of and Unsolved Mysteries.
Blair Witch is a definite, you know, rip-off of those In Search of shows.
Yeah, at least the feeling.
They even began to shoot this framing device, reenacting stories like that of Rustin Parr. The footage was used in Curse of the Blair Witch, a Sci-Fi Channel special that aired a few weeks before the film's release. The reenactments were paired with interviews of the filmmaker's fake friends and family, helping to fuel the rumors that this whole thing was for real.
Basically, it's a pack of lies. Don't believe any of it. But the people of the time did believe in it.
Adding authenticity are the townsfolk. I love them. This old guy calls them damn fool kids, and this other dude reminds me of a high school friend. And this lady, I mean, you know she broke some bones to get her kid to tickle me Elmo. The production team secretly planted most of these so-called locals for the actors to interview. For Mary Brown, they cast the only applicant to their open call internship. Patricia DeCow had the perfect look and even house for the part, so she became an actress as well as the movie's art technician. The kids head to the woods to investigate the sites of the stories they've been told. They leave their car and, well, glad they took a good long look at it as they go. Hope y'all like looking at woods, 'cause that's all we've got ahead of us now. The trio hikes deep into the woods and makes camp for the night. Heather and Josh wait to what they think is a cackling sound, but Mike disproves it with a simple theorem.
If I heard a cackling, I would have shit in my pants.
The next day, on their way to an alleged cemetery, it gradually becomes clear that Heather's gotten them lost.
I knew where we were going.
Wait. Would that be a full of shit statement?
No, I didn't.
Would that be a full of shit statement?
Her blind insistence that she can conquer nature is pretty irritating, and Mike quickly loses patience.
I don't.
Lost, admit that first. Because
We're I know we're not lost.
Josh tries to keep the peace, which was not always the case. Originally, both boys got testy with Heather right away, but the filmmakers cut back during the edit since it felt like a constant dogpile from the start. I'm glad they cooled Josh down. It gave us a likable middleman. The real Joshua Leonard really wanted to be in the movie and lied about his experience with cameras to get the part. That Mary Brown muck-up was for real, and the subsequent conversation unscripted.
So you measured for meters? What? We're not in Europe.
well, the fucking lens has meters on it, okay?
Leonard's been steadily acting ever since, returning to horror with the Bates Motel series and Steven Soderbergh's Unsane. The trio soon gets a welcome break from bickering with a Ninja Warrior challenge and a, mass grave. At least that's what they determined, that there are 7 piles of rocks here for the 7 kids killed by Rustin Parr. Damn, is the witch doing her own kill counts now? Wonder if she gives out a golden chainsaw. In any case, Josh probably shouldn't have knocked one of these piles over. Yeah, I'm sure it's all fine now, Heather. Just give it a little here. They bunker down again and break the tension in the most mid-90s way possible. Talking about sitcom characters fucking.
They had no beer on the island, man. If they had had beer, they would have had, like, big-ass orgies.
Guarantee these guys got high and watched Nick at Night. Not cool of Heather to compare Mike to Gilligan, though. She's pretty condescending to him throughout, even teasing his chest hair patterns. No wonder they spend most of their waking hours getting mad at each other. They try to sleep tight, but the bedbugs start breaking sticks outside the tent.
Sounded to me like a bunch of people running around.
Well, in reality, that's because it was. Directors Myrick and Sanchez and a bunch of their crew all took turns demoralizing the campers by snapping twigs and playing weird noises on a boombox.
And then every once in a while, around the milk crate, you'd hear this little skulking in the woods. And every once in a while, if it was dark, you'd see this red beam, and you knew it was the Haxon band of goons running around again.
The actors later said that it was more annoying than scary. They just want to get some sleep, man. Sure. The characters blame the noises on locals messing with them, worrying Mike immensely.
And I'm not gonna play with that.
Well, how do we know it was people?
Well, even if it wasn't, I'm not gonna play with that either.
Michael C. Williams has since reunited with Sanchez, Myrick, and Leonard on 4 Corners of Fear, a mockumentary about making a 3rd Blair Witch film. In it, he pokes fun at his original day job of moving furniture.
Mostly I've been making my living moving furniture.
Once Blair Witch opened, he gave his 2 weeks live on Late Night with Conan O'Brien.
Eugene and Brian, thanks for the bad back, thanks for the bad knees, thanks for all the fun we had, but it's official, I quit.
Despite the creepy noises, these kids are film students, so their chief concern is still returning the equipment on time. The idea of late fees is enough to break Josh's patience too.
The car. Maybe we're near the car.
Give me the fucking map. Give me the map.
Heather, give me the map. Turn the camera off. Give me the map. Turn the camera off and get us home.
No, really, maybe turn the camera off. It ain't capturing shit in the dark. You're just wasting stock. They underexposed more footage later that night when they try to capture a return of the cracking noises. At dawn, they get a witchy wake-up call with 3 fresh murder rock piles set up around their tent. Heather lingers while filming the rocks, while Josh wisely suggests they get the fuck out of there. Only problem with that is, Heather lost the map. Their arguing here has some of the most memorable line deliveries to me.
I gave you back the map, Heather.
I gave you the map.
I gave you back the map.
Another standout exchange happens later on while Josh is straight up berating Heather.
We walked for 15 hours today. We ended up in the same place. There's no one here to help you. That's
This
your
is so good.
motivation.
And it feels so real,
The actors
man.
had to be in character the entire time, so they came up with a safe word in case things got too real. Taco! The
Num
stress
num.
of the situation
Taco,
soon
taco.
has Michael cackling like a witch. Heather assumes the joke is on her, but it's actually at everybody's expense.
I kicked that fucking map into the creek yesterday. It was useless. I kicked that fucker into the creek.
Heather doesn't like that one bit, and lets Mike know while blowing out the camcorder's sound.
What the fuck are you out of your fucking mind? If we get hurt or if we die out here, it's your fucking fault. It is your fucking fault. Do you understand?
Mike's map punting was only revealed to him the previous night by the directors, who let him decide when to break the news. To keep them isolated from each other as much as they were from anyone else, the actors were given individual directions via personalized notes in their supply drops.
We were only allowed to look at our instructions. We weren't allowed to show them to each other.
The Fellowship officially fucked. They screamed for a while before shutting down completely. Nothing like a good despair break, you know? These broken human beings then find tied together sticks. The trees here have taken up arts and witchcrafts. The film doesn't name these totems. The characters call them voodoo shit. But the stickman quickly became the logo of the Blair Witch franchise. They're awesome in their simplicity. Although, why does that big boy look so furry? The stick people were nodded by production designer Ben Rock, who took inspiration from runes. He also needed an easy way to tie 4 sticks together hundreds of times. The directors were initially unimpressed.
That looks like a bunch of sticks tied together.
They came around to the look once it became iconic. The documentarians sure find the stickmen fascinating and spend a good long while filming them with both cameras. Eventually, the guys drag Heather away from the tree ornaments to make camp, but they decide to skip a fire, hoping to stay hidden in the dark. I mean, yep, I can't see ya. The rustic pranksters from the woods do, though, and continue to get creepier. And meaner, since they attack the tent. The tent shakeup sends everyone running blindly into the woods, where we miss out on something that scares Heather.
Oh my god, what the fuck is that? What the fuck is that?
Man, the terror in her voice sells it enough for me. I don't even need to see what she's looking at to be afraid.
Yeah.
Which, in actuality, was art director Ricardo Moreno running through the woods with white pantyhose over his head. The students spend the night out in the woods. By morning's light, they return to the campsite to find their stuff destroyed. Well, Josh's stuff, specifically.
It looks like slime, man. It's just water, man. Yeah. It is slime. What the fuck is that?
They need a Ghostbuster. Getting bullied by a witch leads Josh to wishing he could jump into the digital world.
Let's see why you like this video camera so much.
You do?
It's not quite reality. You can pretend everything's not quite the way it is.
The boys belt out America the Beautiful, one of many references to living as Americans in the modern age.
It's very hard to get lost in America these days, and it's even harder to stay lost.
The optimism of 90s America is a minor theme, but it's definitely there. It's part of why these kids are so confident and unchallenged that they feel fine wandering off into the woods. The woods are really messing with them now, though, since they wind up seeing the same log across the same stream they already forded earlier that day. Turned around and out of sorts, a detente settles that night for the sake of survival and sewing. They talk about food like they were Final 7 in Survivor, and fall asleep trying to remember the lyrics to Lose Yourself.
Your mom's mashed potatoes.
Wrong card. In the morning, Josh is gone. Looks like the tribe of witches has spoken. As per usual, the actors didn't know this was going to happen. The directors told Josh to sneak out, picked him up in a car, and drove him straight home. He didn't get to stay at Ponderosa, but the real Josh was happy he could catch a Jane's Addiction concert.
Oh, nice!
They put on a hell of a show. Heather does the slime math and realizes Josh was probably singled out for knocking over that pile of rocks. Down one musketeer, the only things Heather and Mike are able to do is walk through the woods and shoot images that would really work as album covers.
Oh my god, what the fuck is that?
Night comes, and without Josh around, the conversation is pretty stilted.
What's your favorite thing to do on a Sunday?
They go to sleep, and instead of strangers making noises in the night, Josh does the honors, with blood-curdling screams and gagging noises that sound painful. Heather and Mike call out
So
for their midnight
crazy,
march,
man.
With a no-show polo, they go back to bed. The next morning, they get some tree mail, a bundle of sticks tied together with a scrap of Josh's flannel. At first, they leave it alone, which the actors really did. In one of the very few times the filmmakers had to directly intervene, they told Heather she had to unwrap the obviously cursed present. She does it while Mike is away and finds what's left of Josh, nothing more than blood, hair, and a couple of teeth, some of them taken from a real dentist. I've always found it hard to tell exactly what I'm looking at in this bark
Same.
parcel. I thought it was a tongue for a long time. Heather decides not to tell Mike, giving him a safe space to experiment with a vegetarian lifestyle. That night, after he's asleep, she takes the camcorder out to make history with the world's first vlog and the world's first vlogger apology.
Yes.
So sorry.
So what I said at the beginning of this is the most iconic thing, because this was just parody to death everywhere. Like any sort of TV show, any sort of comedy, or like a movie or whatever, this has been parodied to death.
For everything that has happened.
Yeah, but like, do you even mean it if you're not playing a ukulele? This infamous shot has been parodied up the nose, but
I
don't
got
let
that
distract
reference.
you from the fact that it's a truly great moment in the movie, and also a redemptive one for Heather, since she finally takes blame as the project's director. The real filmmakers were originally going to cast 3 dudes, until Heather Donahue aced their improv prompt audition.
You walk in, you sit down, he says, well, you've served 7 years of a 9-year sentence. Why should we let you out on parole?
Her answer, that they shouldn't let her out, impressed them immediately. I hate that Donahue was given a stupid-ass Razzie Award for Worst Actress. Her performance is perfect, and what makes so much of Blair Witch work so well. I knew people like her in film school, all pushy and performative. I would totally believe them continuing to roll camera even as shit falls apart.
Yeah?
Unfortunately, this role ruined the real Heather Donahue's acting career.
I knew after a while that I didn't want to be an actress anymore. I wasn't getting to do things that I was very proud of putting out into the world.
She left the industry in 2008 to grow medical marijuana, burned all her Blair Witch souvenirs in 2011, and changed her name in 2020 to distance herself from the film as much as possible.
Wow.
Later in the night, Heather and Mike hear
That's a
Josh
shame.
again shouting for help. Not sure how he's managing that without teeth, but they track the sounds to a house in the woods. Holy shit, the chills are running down my back just looking at this thing. Especially in the black and white 16mm. This place is fucking terrifying. The production team had gone ahead and set dressed this place, the historic Griggs house, but this really was the first time Donahue and Williams had ever seen it. I can't even imagine. Sadly, the building was torn down shortly after the movie was made. What I would give to visit that thing.
Same.
What a fucking nightmare, man. They barge in chasing Josh's voice, hoping to find him somewhere in the house.
I hear him. I hear him.
They run past graffitied letters from the occult language Transitus Fluvi, as well as a concerning amount of children's handprints. And
Not a
not
lot.
even one of them a turkey? Where the festive kids at? Suddenly, the screams teleport 3 floors down, so Mike takes to the stairs in a game of whack-a-whale. He leaves Heather upstairs while he and the camcorder head into the basement, where he's jumped by something that causes him to drop the recording device to the floor. It keeps rolling and becomes our distant audio source, as Heather follows with the silent 16mm. She gets into the cellar to find Mike standing in the corner, Rustin Parr style, then gets dragged away off screen by the Blair Witch. I'm assuming the witch got Mike right afterward, so I'll add both of them to the count. In my opinion, this is one of the scariest endings of all time. The image of Mike in the corner, really just that whole fucking house, still terrifies me more than 2 decades later. But Artisan Entertainment, which bought the movie after it played at Sundance, forced the filmmakers back into the woods to shoot something more eventful before its wide release. The 4 alternatives included simple interior design changes, and Mike being hanged, crucified, and all turned around. Myrick and Sanchez ultimately won their fight to use the original ending, although I've gotta say, most of the other ones are scary too. As for the seriously late camera equipment, it eventually stops rolling film and starts rolling credits. How many found footage folks will be found dead for the count? Let's find out and get to the numbers. Josh?
Uh-oh.
Josh, do you need help counting kills or something? Hang on, Josh, I'm coming, buddy.
Go, get.
Need this.
Yeah, bring your camcorder. All right. Get to him, James. Get to him. Come on, man. Cool. Oh, God.
I just want to apologize
Parody.
to Chelsea
Oh.
and Lucy and Molly. Not Zoran, but the rest of the Dead Meat team.
Zoran, what the hell?
That I couldn't come up with a better to the numbers bit than this old, stale confessional parody.
I love love it. I figured he was going to do it at some point.
I am so sorry to everyone who's done one of these before.
Everybody has.
Scary Movie.
Yep.
SNL.
Yep.
Mad TV.
Yep.
Robot Chicken.
Yep.
How It Should Have Ended.
Yep.
The Bogus Witch Project.
Yep.
Johnny Bravo.
Yep.
Scooby-Doo.
He's really gonna get all of them.
The Hip Hop Witch with Eminem.
9.
Total Drama Island.
Okay.
That Target 2-day sale commercial.
Oh my god.
And of course, the Halloween episode of the Hughleys.
Oh. It's 12. Wow.
My
that's
only
a lot.
hope is that this bit finally,
And this is 13.
dies out here with me.
Lucky number 13. Oh no, James! No, James! No, James!
Being generous, I counted 3 kills in the Blair Witch Project, with the victims consisting of 1 woman and 2 men, giving us a mostly blue witch pie chart. This is not an uncommon count and gender breakdown. We've seen it in 5 other movies on the show before. With a runtime of 81 minutes, we had a kill on average every 27 minutes even. I'll give the golden chainsaw for coolest kill to Mike, who had the scariest timeout of all time. Hell, we didn't even actually see him get killed, but he wins this award anyway. That's how scary I find that shot of him. Machete for lamest kill will, I guess, go to Josh. It's pretty disturbing, but I don't like how I never knew exactly what I was looking at. Stupid standard def. And that's it. The Blair Witch Project came out in 1999 and only cost $35,000 to make. It grossed almost $250 million and remains one of the most profitable films ever made. 2 sequels would follow, but I can't look at them right now. So we'll be back next week with something different. Until then, I'm James A. Janice. This has been the Kill Count. Thanks a
Even
lot for
more
watching.
different than what we've seen before? That should be interesting. But either way, this was a nice, fun look back and seeing some of the footage from back then too. Just like some of the interviews from some of the, like the daytime shows and the nighttime shows that they were on. That was pretty cool to see. And just like everything just sort of surrounding that era, because that was basically when I was a kid. That's when I was getting into horror around that time. Scream being a thing, and Nickelodeon was a huge part of my life, and I loved Are You Afraid of the Dark? I used to read the Goosebumps books, and then that sort of got me sort of into this. I couldn't see it until it's, actual, like, I think that was VHS at that time, I think? Or was that DVD? I can't remember when DVD started. I legitimately can't remember, but as soon as somebody got it, I was able to finally watch it. I was completely mesmerized. I had nightmares of that ending scene over and over again, and like I said, I saw that little crying scene parodied to death, as he even demonstrated and even was able to count each and every one of them. That was probably my favorite part, is the fact that they did all the research and they were able to find each and every single thing that parodied it. Just so good, so much fun, nice little throwback to the 90s. It's just something I'll always appreciate. So that will do it for me here, though. Comment down below, let me know, what did you think about the Blair Witch Project? Please leave a like if you enjoyed. Please check all those links I have for you down in the description below. And lastly, and most importantly, I want to give a huge shout out to all of my $5 up supporters on Patreon. Cruising, Wolverine 310, Kester Kronich, Amber K, Raymond Bright, Chris Curtis, Haley Machinardi, Ann Perry, Larka, Fox Cacophony, and Morgan Page. And I'll see you guys next time.